So let me shoot it out real quick before I get started. I want to say all praise, all honor, all glory be unto the Most High, our Creator, our Heavenly Divine Creator. Let His word be true continuously, forever and always. Let everything that is said and spoken be said and spoken in spirit and in truth. For all those that are not able to chime in, I'll be posting it on my Freebrew Nation channel on YouTube. So follow me on YouTube, Freebrew Nation on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube at Freebrew Nation. Don't forget, because if you're not able to finish the lesson tonight, I'll be posting it on my YouTube page. So I want to share this information with y'all. The Freebrew edition. Now, when I speak, I don't speak for every man, because every man is not a retainer of wisdom. So when I speak about these things, this is just based on this perspective. So if anybody share this video with you, and try to get you to believe it from this angle, just know that they have to be very much equipped with the understanding. So when I teach anything or when I share any form of information, it's shared from a perspective where if whoever, male or female, whoever you're talking to, if they not leaning upon what Torah strictly says, then we don't support every cause. Okay, so first of all, I'm grateful to the Most High to even be here, to be present. Shalom, shalom, Maki, to even be talking to y'all. I'm most definitely grateful. So I'm gonna try to make this quick. I don't even want to go into an hour, so I'm finna cut straight to the chase. I don't want to go into an hour. So I made a post, and the post said that. Let me read it real quick. I'm gonna read it real quick. Again, if y'all don't get this lesson, follow me on YouTube, Freebrew Nation, and I'm gonna post the whole lesson on my YouTube. Okay. So, very first thing is, I said, what's your thoughts on this? I said, so my wife said if I get another wife, I might as well get 3. Okay. And before the next slide, I said, now, if you sexualize polygyny, you have lost the understanding of its purpose. Therefore, your thoughts are incomplete and void. Okay? So I'm going to answer to some people that made some statements. One statement was this. He said, yes, because I look to men of righteousness who had multiple wives. And and then there's Solomon. It's 2 completely different outlooks. Right? One said 2 is better than 1, and 3 is hard to be broken. It's many reasons why, but most importantly, I think it's as useful for the women, if not more, just for the sisterhood and helping each other as a unit. All right. One brother said, I only said no because it says in scripture, let man have his own woman, and let every woman have her own man. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 2. It also says that it is unlawful, even though our forefathers did practice polygyny. Personally, I will not just from my perspective, but if you do, I will still be happy for you and praise Yahuwah that He is keeping you all safe. Hallelujah. And what is there another one? Okay. Let me go to. I'm gonna read I want to read 2 more. I want to read 2 more real quick, and then I'm gonna get into the breakdown that I'll be sharing with y'all Y'all bear with me. Have patience. Be patient in spirit. Be patient. Okay, so another person said no, because every example I've read in the Bible involved some type of wickedness. Example, Leah and Rachel. I also believe that the state of the world in the economy is not set up in a way that polygyny can be done in the right way. Man solely providing for multiple households, multiple children, etc. I'm fairly new in this walk, and to be honest, I'm conflicted as to if this was something that was allowed, but not the will of the Most High. Like how he allowed us to have earthly leaders, but it almost came as a punishment. I've approached this conversation so many times with myself, sometimes with emotion, sometimes without. I think it's a tough conversation for many, especially us women as the weaker vessel, and some of us that may be fighting the spirit of jealousy. Okay? And then I'm going to read one more, and then I'm finna get into my perspective. The Freebrew edition. Okay? The Freebrew edition. And I pray that it resonates with your spirit. This is the last one I'm going to read, and then I'm finna jump into it. Peace, love, and light. Peace, love, and light to everybody chiming in. It said, my brother said, I'm pro-poly. And my reason is poly was simply a part of marriage to our ancestors. It was not something separate or even viewed from a over-sexualized point. Poly actually protected women in our culture, so there wasn't single mothers or just a high rate of uncovered women. Poly also protected and prolonged a man's name, heritage, and legacy. The more wives he had, the more chances of sons he had to carry out his name and heritage in earth. Poly ensured better chances of a successful family from a scriptural point of view, meaning if a man have one wife but four young children, if the wife passed, the man is left pretty much left to bear a burden he was never meant to bear, being alone while having to raise children. In poly, this is solved because the man is never left alone without the help of an Isha to continue the motherly, nurturing side of life that a woman brings in raising children. Right? So after reading that, I'm going to say this. There was a post that I had read, and it said, the most important part of being a woman is rearing children and raising them up in the ways of righteousness. Right? So I want to add that. So the very first thing is this. There is a war on humanity, right? There's a war against reproduction. There's a war against pro-life, right? So, like I said from the beginning, if you sexualize polygyny, your understanding is already dimmed, okay? If you sexualize polygyny, your understanding is already dimmed. We got to figure out why are these wars taking place, right? Why are these wars taking place? So, in order for us to figure out why these wars taking place, we must first know or understand that we are at war. In every aspect, we at mental war, spiritual war, physical war, economic war, biochemical warfare. There's a war on our DNA. There's a war on life. So there's so many wars that we're battling and that we're fighting, and some of us are unaware of certain wars that are taking place, right? So what is the war against polygyny, and why is it a war against polygyny? The very first war against polygyny, and this is a war. The very first war against polygyny is homosexuality. The very first war against polygyny, pro-life, reproduction is homosexuality. The more homosexuals they can collect, the more they can push out, the more they can make having children look like it's the worst thing to do in this society, right? So as much as they push homosexuality in this world, homosexuality is pushed to the point to where they even have laws and even have rights. Even that alone should let you know there's a war on reproduction. There is a war on reproduction. You got some people say, well, the earth is I can only see polygyny working if the earth needs to be replenished. The earth does need to be replenished. Just because it's people here does not mean that these are the people that will be in the kingdom. The majority of the people are here are soaked, drenched in wickedness and folly. You understand? So the Father needs righteous seeds. The Father needs righteous seeds to replenish the earth. So just because there's billions of people on earth, but it's not enough righteous people. So the objective is to replenish the earth with righteous seeds. The earth is plenteous with people, but it's not plenteous with the righteous seed of the Creator. It's not plenteous with righteous seeds of righteousness, sowing seeds of righteousness, those that are going to carry out the will of Yah. Right? So the very first war is homosexuality. I find a lot of women speak more against polygyny than they do against homosexuality, when polygyny will increase and homosexuality decreases. Right? So now, when I say that this is the Freebrew edition, I speak from a perspective of understanding. I speak from a perspective of multiplication, right? I don't speak from a perspective of a camp or the world. I'm only trying to make it logical for us to understand. First off, let me implement this, that relationships are a business. And if you don't look at your relationship as a business, you playing games. I'm going to tell you why. Hold that thought. Relationships are a business. And if you do not look at your relationship as a business, even monogamy, if you don't look at it as a business, it will fail. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to get into it. But let me finish out these things that are warring against us. So the very first thing is homosexuality. Right? Very high rate of homosexuals. Very low rate of marriage. Shoot. The homosexual rate is higher than the marriage rate in the black community. In the black community, you have more homosexuals in the black community than you do have monogamous relationships, married, lasting relationships. So this is war number one, homosexuality. Leviticus 18:22, it says, thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is an abomination. Right? So if we're really trying to be pro-life, if we're really trying to be anti-America, man, we'll do everything that they don't promote. See, monogamy is not a bad thing, but it was used by the enemy as a tool to keep us from multiplying. Because polygyny is not a bad thing. They deemed that bad, but it's not. Because think about it. Even when you was in the world, you couldn't stop a man, or a man never had to ask you for permission to go and lay with another woman. By nature, he gonna do it anyway. So even in that perspective, when they do it in the world, which is wrong, when they do it in the world, if everything is always by two. There's righteousness and there's wickedness. There's a wrong way to do something and there's a right way to do something. There's up, there's down. There's left, there's right. There's in, there's out. There's good, there's evil. Just always understand it, right? So again, I don't speak for every man, because every man is not equipped with the wisdom to be able to handle a situation as such. Right? So the second war that's being waged on us, that's being waged on pro-life, that's being waged on reproduction, that's being waged on humanity, is mass incarceration. Now, we know that the statistics say, and I haven't done my own personal research, but the statistics say that women outnumber men. That women outnumber men. So let's take homosexuality warring against pro-life. Then we have mass incarceration, right? Isaiah 42:22 said, "For this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all hid in prison houses, and none say restore." When it says Isaiah 42:22 is the scripture that I just quoted. When it says, "and none to deliver and none to restore," what do you think that he mean when he said restore? To bring back to life, to replenish the mindset. So, because once the mindset is replenished, when you have children in a state of wisdom, you bring forth wise children. When you have children in a state or the mind state of ignorance, you bring forth ignorant children. I've seen the statistic. That is true. That is absolute. You understand? So, again, I'm going to say this for the people who jumping in. If you do not look at your relationship as a business, you lose. Homosexuality is higher in the black community than monogamous lasting marriages. Homosexuality is high. So again, if you sexualize polygyny, you will lose. If you don't look at your relationship as a business, you will lose. You will lose the concept, or you will lose the ability to grasp the understanding, because we come from the world. The world was sexualized, so we tend to sexualize everything because that's how we did it in the world. Even in reverse, there are some things that you shouldn't even be doing. The way that you had sexual intercourse in the world should not be the same way you have sexual intercourse in the walk. That's another topic for another day, and I can explain it, but inbox me concerning that, because I have an understanding on that as well. So mass incarceration, Isaiah 42:22 says that this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all hid in holes, snared in prison houses, none to deliver, none to restore. Okay? Mass incarceration. So on top of mass incarceration, you have just those that are unconscious about love and unity and marriage alone. You got a lot of those out there too. That's just unconscious about marriage and what it takes to just make a monogamous relationship work. Unconscious. So you got homosexuality, you got mass incarceration, you got the unconscious. So what is our objective even in this walk? I'm going to put it up on YouTube. Our objective in this walk is to promote the will of the Father. Now, let me tell you like this. If this understanding is not based on a camp perspective, if you have anybody telling you that sex is marriage this, or sex is marriage that, right? And they believe that sex is marriage and having multiple wives based on this understanding, remove that folly. That's folly. That's pure folly. You understand? I wrote out courtship contracts because we should take our time getting to know people. Because once you take your time getting to know people, they'll reveal themselves to you. So with this courtship contract I wrote out, this courtship contract is in a 3-month span. It's in a 3-month span because, hey, you may find out in 2 months, like, I don't want nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? But I only put it in 3-month span for that reason. But then I suggest that people court at least 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months. All right. Reason being is because we need to take the time to get to know one another. We need to take the time to get to know one another as people. We need to take the time to get to know. Like I said in my last For Your Mind Monday, set your intentions and let your intentions be known. Because when you expect something, you don't express it. When you set your intentions, you let it be known. Right? So here it is. The reason why I am pro polygyny. Every woman has a husband. So then the single mother rate goes down. Every child has a father. So then the fatherless child rate goes down. This is the primary this is the primary goal. This should be looked at as the primary goal. Like I said, relationships are a business. If you don't look at it as a business, don't even deal. Don't even deal. Don't even try monogamy, because the monogamy won't work for you. Most time people get in relationships to satisfy themselves, or because they don't want to be alone. Right? They don't want to be alone, or they want to satisfy themselves. But soon as you get into that relationship and these things that you use, as soon as you get into a relationship and you satisfy yourself, there's something missing. That thing that's missing is y'all not being able to come together to satisfy each other in no other way. Sexual intercourse is satisfying in a relationship, but that cannot be the only thing that satisfies you and sustains you and keep you. You can't bring that into no relationship and think that that's what's going to sustain you. Relationships are a business. Let's grow together. Let's plant crops together. Let's build business together. Let's establish a business together so that we can elevate together. These things drive. These are the driving wheels of relationships. Not what goes on in the bedroom, not what satisfies the flesh, but what satisfies the future. Reproduction. Right? Our objective is to say, hey, we serve Yahuwah. Just because some say just because the earth has billions of people does not mean that it's replenished with the seed of Yahuwah. These are the driving wheels of relationships: building business, cultivating, and expanding. Right? Building business, cultivating, and expanding. Like I said in the beginning, relationships are our business. And I'm finna get ready to explain why I say that. And we're going to bring out scriptures to validate why I say what I say. First script. Let's go to Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. Let me get these off real quick. Exodus 21, verse 10. I'm going to get these two scriptures off. Exodus 21, verse 10 and Deuteronomy 21, 15. Exodus 21, 10. So when we finna get into the business aspect of relationships. Relationship is a business. Relationship is a business. And like I said, the reason why I'm pro poly is because every single woman will have a husband, which will bring down the single woman, strong, independent, black single woman thing. It'll bring that down. And every child has a father. I'm a father to a child that's not biologically mine, but I'm a father to this child. Like, he called me Pops. Not literally Pop, but he called me Abba. I'm a father to this child. And I'm dedicated to this to that role. It also stated that in the Apocrypha as well. And I'm gonna get that too. Alright. So Exodus chapter 21. Exodus chapter 21, verse 10, right? Exodus chapter 21, verse 10, it says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, her duty of marriage, shall he not diminish? Tell me this has nothing to do with business. Tell me relationships have everything to do with love, falling in love, honeymoons, and being satisfied via flesh. No. Even when the script Even when the scriptures document a man having another wife, this is based on business. Listen, if a man if he take to himself another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Right? If he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free. What? Without money. Relationships are a business. You have to be able to take on these duties. You have to be able to provide this food and this raiment for this sister. You understand? It's a business. And you have to go into a relationship with a business mind state. It's love and business. It's love too. It's love too. But love does not sustain relationships. Even in polygyny, love will not sustain a polygynous relationship, but business will. A business mindset will. Think about, I'm going to jump to the back because this is what I wanted to end with, but I'm going to bring it to the front. Think about an empire. They all work together for the greater good of the pile. They all benefit. They all survive with one another, sustaining, helping, feeding one another. There's a scripture in there's a scripture in Proverbs that says, "The ants are people. The ants are people, but they have no leader, no guide, but they prepare their meat for the summer." I mean, they prepare their meat for the winter. I'm butchering it, but I'm going to get it later on. All right, so let's jump to the next scripture. Deuteronomy 21:15. Deuteronomy 21:15. And I'm gonna explain how it'll work from this perspective. But you have to be mature. You got to be completely mature. You cannot be any inkling within you that's over-sexualized will fail. And it'll be exposed. You understand what I'm saying? Any inkling of over-sexualization will fail and it will be exposed. All right. Deuteronomy 21 verse 15. Okay. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit. Inherit means business. I'm going to leave you something, right? Polygyny is a business. It's love, but it's business. You understand what I'm saying? Then it shall be when he maketh his son to inherit that which he had, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before Salakia. I'm gonna read it over. Then it shall be when he maketh his son to inherit that which he hath. When he maketh his son to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had. For he is the beginning of his strength, and the right of the firstborn is his. You understand? So even in polygyny, it's about business. If I have two wives, my first wife had my son, my second wife had my son, right? The father said, okay, if you gonna do it, this how I want you to do it. Keep it strictly business. So guess what? Guess what else is saying here, brothers? That you have to have something to give. You have to have something to provide, right? You have to be able to have an inheritance and leave for the children of your firstborn, leave for the children of your wives. You have to have something for your wives to have for the children. That's their inheritance. That's their portion. So this is talking about business. Inheritance, whenever you hear the word inheritance, it means like this family business. This family business. If I required a polygynous relationship, we gonna build business. The love is there. But if business cannot be established off top, it ain't gonna work. Because you here for the flesh. I ain't here for the flesh. I'm here to build business. I'm here to build business and grow in love and grow and cultivate. Cultivate and love. Build business and love. Establish inheritance and love. It's all in the mix. That's the objective. Because see, you can't be over sexualized when you're talking about this. You gotta have more of a mindset like, dang, if I do this, this is what I'm doing. Okay, if I get in a polygynous relationship, this is what I'm warring against. I created a platform that wars against homosexuality. I created a platform that wars against mass incarceration because we're going to implement Torah in the minds of our children. I war against the unconscious because we're going to implement Torah in the minds of these children. I only want to bring forth children that I know that I'm going to pour into, that I know I'm going to pour Torah into. But the only way that I can do that is if I have Torah observant women around me that's ready to accept the wisdom to pour into the children. Because as I pour into my wife, she pours into the children. And I pray, and I say this in my prayer, that my children carry out the Torah from generation to generation. I implement that in my prayer. But this is what we up against. If you are anti-polygyny, I'm just going to go ahead and say that you're pro-homosexuality. You for it. Because the way that they pushing homosexuality, you should have your polygon ready like, nah, we finna do this like this because I already know what the enemy tricks are. And as you go into a situation as such, be business minded. Don't come in with no other intentions but being business minded and ready to serve Yah. Don't come in with no other intention besides being business minded, ready to serve Yah, and love from that perspective of Torah. Love from that perspective of Torah. Because the enemy is waging war on us already. Boom, I can get you locked up. Boom, I can motivate you young black boys to be homosexuals. Like I said in the beginning, you have a higher rate of homosexuality in a black community or in a Hebrew community than you do have monogamous, lasting relationships. Let's fight. How we gonna fight against it? How we gonna fight against it when you got a lot of single Israelite women out here right now who need husbands, who need coverings, right? But like I said, if it ain't from the perspective of business and love, cultivating in love, it ain't even necessary. It ain't necessary because you will find, and I have found that a lot of brothers just want to be in a polygynous relationship to exercise they over-sexualized energy. Like I said from the beginning, you should not even be having sexual intercourse the way that you did in the world. You understand what I'm saying? I mean that to the bottom, because that same energy that you had committing those same sexual gestures, you bringing it to the walk, ain't nothing changed. You still wicked and you still expressing wickedness. It gotta change completely. All right. So now that we established that the man has to provide, and we established that relationships are a business, even polygynous relationships, via the two scriptures that I had brought out, you saw business there. It said in Exodus, it said, if he do not do these three things, he shall let her go free without money. That's business. It also said in Deuteronomy 21:15 about the inheritance. That's business. See, I don't believe that's necessarily true. Being against polygyny is Proverbs. Okay, I stepped out on a limb. I stepped out on a limb with that one, but I kind of like, you understand? I didn't mean it, but I meant it. I was just basically trying to put the emphasis on how much they pushing and pumping homosexuality, even giving laws to it. They've taken the Father symbol and perverted it. right? It said being against polygyny, not necessarily true. Being against polygyny is pro homosexuality. Apostle Paul, hold on, let me see. The Apostle Paul listed qualifications of leaders in the assembly to be the husband of one wife, a requirement. Are you speaking from a man's point of view? I'm speaking from Torah. I haven't gotten into Paul's letters. Not like I haven't read it, but I haven't gotten into Paul's letters based on this topic. I'm just speaking based on Torah. So from a Torah-based perspective, when we read Exodus 21 and 10, Deuteronomy 21 and 15, we're speaking about polygynous relationships and how the function of it is supposed to be kept and it's supposed to be had. So I'm trying to diminish the over-sexualized vision of polygyny and make it steered or geared more towards business, love and business, and procreation, right? Not necessarily business alone, but procreation and business. All right. So that, all right. The war is not just waged upon the men, it's waged upon the women too, because there's a high rate of homosexual women that don't even want to deal with men. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to recognize the wars that are being waged first. The very first thing is we got to recognize that this is a war. That this is a war. They spit in the Father's face. They spit in the Father's face, take the Father's symbol and say, this symbol represents homosexuality. When I know damn well when I was growing up as a child, I never looked at the rainbow and thought or saw anything homosexual. The first thing we saw was Skittles. The first thing we correlated the rainbow with was Lucky Charms box or the leprechaun. And it's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And then it was Skittles, right? Taste the rainbow. And then here come this whole other image of homosexuality that's taking the Father's symbol, because they taking a copy of the Father's symbol. Let me say that. Because the Father's true symbol is still in the clouds, and can't no man create that. Understand me? They are taking a copy of the Father's symbol and perverting it and saying that this is what it represents. So when people see the rainbow, they don't even correlate it to the scriptures. They correlate it to homosexuality. So even brothers and sisters in the truth, some don't wear the rainbow because it's correlated with homosexuality because the enemy perverted it. So they spit in the Father's face, and this is my way of spitting in their face, but in a righteous way, in a way where, look, we gonna do this the Father's way, whether you like it or not. We gonna do it Yahweh, whether you like it or not. Now, let's get into this perspective of you gotta be able to provide, right? You gotta be able to provide. You gotta be able to provide. Now, when we say this, you got to be able to provide this, that, and the third, right? Bringing it up to date in an American perspective, you're basically saying you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the rent, you got to pay the light bill, you got to buy food, you got to buy clothes, and boom, you just got to be a slave to the system in order to support this lifestyle. You got to be a slave to the system in order to support this lifestyle. First thing first, when we speak about being able to provide, that does not do away with the duties of a woman. Because he provides rent, light bill, gotta buy you a car, gotta make sure the car maintenance, gotta feed you, take you out. Can't forget about romance. Got to make sure this, that, and the third. Now, Hold on just a second. I'll answer that later. Now, in today's society, when you hear that, you gotta have money to do it. You gotta be able to afford it. You gotta be able to be financially capable to afford it. You got rich people that got big bank. Does that mean that they qualify for a polygynous relationship because they have money? Or do you? Because there's a very thin line between being able to afford it and then prostituting the daughters of Israel. Don't go for money because you got somebody who can afford it. Don't fall for the big bank jank. Don't fall for that because they can have money and not have the wisdom to be able to deal with the situation. Because they can afford it, nah, that's no excuse. That's no excuse. You most definitely have to have a mindset of business. Because if you only solely dependent on the man's income in this society, it ain't gonna work. This society is really not set up for us to be able to provide on our own. Relationships weren't set up for us to be able to for us to have to provide on our own. Even in Exodus 21:10, it said, and her duties of marriage, right? So yes, she have duties in this household. She has duties. Now, you got this concept of you got to be able to afford it. You got a lot of broke men out here talking about polygyny. And, you know what I'm saying, paying this rent, paying that rent. And you got multiple wives that got to be separate. You got to pay this rent. You got to pay that rent. You got to pay this light bill, pay that light bill. Be realistic. Be realistic. That's whoremongering. And that's falling into whoredom. Leviticus 19:29. Let me go to Leviticus 19:29, right? Leviticus 19:29. It reads, do not prostitute the daughters. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land come full of wickedness. All right. So even in this society, you got, speaking from a worldly perspective, of course, you got women who sell themselves for money. Right? So coming into the truth, I feel that same concept coming from that statement. I feel that same concept of selling yourself for money coming from that statement, because you got unrighteous brothers who got bank that ain't worthy of having multiple wives because they're, for one, they got bank who ain't worthy to have multiple wives because they might have you exercising other sins. They might have you exercising or feeding their lust demons. They might have you exercising and feeding their demons of temptation, and they don't really know how to provide. They just like the fact or the concept of being able to say that they have two wives, but they ain't building with you. They not building nothing. They just able to provide, and they live on that basis alone. That, well, hey, I got the money. Shoot, hey, come on. But you could be a wicked nigga with money. Excuse my language. You could be a wicked, foul spirit with money. So it's the wisdom it's truly the wisdom of being able to build business so that we can sustain ourselves. All right. It said, do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to become a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. Just because they got bank, don't make them worthy or count them worthy of being able to be in a polygynous relationship. I'm answering several things, right? So now, even women who say you got to be able to provide, use Proverbs 31 as a template to go by. Now, as these women use this Proverbs 31 as a template, I think that they need to read more in depth about the business mindset of this woman more so than anything. Because if you leaning on the basis where he gotta be able to provide it all, then you taking from yourself, because there are duties that you have to have in the provisions of the household as well. Right? So every man wants a Proverbs 31 woman. And every woman wants to be a Proverbs 31 woman. But us as men have to be equipped with the wisdom to sustain a Proverbs 31 woman. And every woman has to have the wisdom of a Proverbs 31 woman to be kept. To be kept. You understand? Proverbs 31:10 start off straight like this. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is above rubies. Her price is above rubies. So you mean to tell me that if he can afford it, you will sell out, and that money ain't even worth the amount of rubies? It said her price is above rubies. This goes beyond what he can afford, or what this goes beyond what he can afford, because you can't buy a Proverbs 31 woman. So we can go ahead and knock that out. Her price is above rubies. Okay? Her price is far beyond rubies. It's far beyond what you can beguile her with financially. Her price is far beyond that. All right? The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that she have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Right? Verse 13, it says, she seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from far. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maids. This Proverbs 31 woman was a servant in the process of building. You understand? She said it didn't indicate if her husband had another wife or not. It only said she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. He trusts in her. His heart trusts in her that she gonna go out and she gonna do what she's supposed to do. I don't have to worry about her out of my sight. You understand? Verse 16. She considereth the field and buyeth it. Business. All right. With the fruit of her hand, she planted a vineyard. Cultivation. All right. She girded her loins with strength. She strengthened her arms. Right. So she's working. She working out. All right. So we talking about building business. We talking about cultivating. We talking about working out, being strong mentally, physically, and spiritually. So now, if one Proverbs 31 woman is good, two is better. Verse 18. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Right? Dang, she a hustler. She's selling stuff. She a provider too. Oh, but I thought the man only had to provide. And see, when you read Proverbs 31 from another light, and you understand business and relationships, you know and understand why she is the way that she is. She perceived that her merchandise is good, like she got good product. I can sell this and be sufficient and provide for my household. Look, she a servant. She wake up, she give bread to her children and leave a portion for her maids that are in service to her, so she even in service to her maids too. A Proverbs 31 woman is about business. You understand? She perceives that her merchandise is good. She a hustler. Verse 18, she perceived that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She's still working. She making sure that she's providing light even by night. She's a prudent woman. I need oil for this candle so the candle won't go out at night. I got the oil. She got the oil for you. She laid her hands to the spindle and her hands hold the distaff. I think I looked this up a while back, and it's like this. It's either has something to do with sewing or creating vessels. Don't quote me on that, but I think it has something to do with sewing. All right. She stretches out her hand to the poor, yea, she reaches forth her hand to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she rejoiced in time to come. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Business. I'm going to tell you, like I said in the beginning, if you're going into a relationship, this relationship must be considered, and you must go in with a business mindset. You have business, then you have love. You have cultivation, then you have love. If you read Proverbs 31 thoroughly, you will see that this woman was about business. She was a provider. Her mind was occupied with business. Verse 18, it said, she perceived that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She understands that everything about production or reproduction and pro-life always fall along the lines of business. So if you have one wife that's prudent and can consider herself a Proverbs 31 and moves in this manner, if you have two, that's even better. The main reason why I'm so pro poly is because this world is pro homosexuality. And their objective is to get rid of us. Homosexuality has a higher rate in the black community than monogamous, lasting relationships. That's the truth. I'm going to say it again. Homosexuality has a higher rate in the black community than monogamous, lasting relationships. Man, look. People say the purpose of polygyny is to replenish the earth. But it's already enough people here. No, it's not. It's not enough righteous seeds here. Like I said in the beginning, the goal is that every woman has a husband and every child has a father. That's the purpose. It shouldn't be no other purpose. And in that is business. I teach my children. I still got on my work clothes. I was working today. I teach my children everything that I know about my business. I got several businesses just sitting amongst me, making clothes. The list goes on. Anyway, but that's the whole point. Think, like I said in the beginning, think of an empire. They work together. This has nothing to do with being over-sexualized. If you over-sexualize polygyny, if you over-sexualize it, you've lost the concept and the understanding or its purpose. You understand? So if they're anti-life, if they are anti-reproduction, we should be pro-life and pro-reproduction, pro-humanity. Their war is against depopulation. Oh my God. Their whole objective is to depopulate. How are we to combat that? How are we to combat that? They're trying to depopulate at a mass rate. How do we war against that and repopulate at a mass rate? And I'm not saying this just because we need more people here. No, I'm not saying this just because we need to just replenish the earth. I'm not saying it. I'm saying it in a way where the Father is replenishing the earth with righteous seed. The more we have children and the more we install the values of Torah within these children, guess what? That's the generation to come. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It ain't got nothing to do with us. The generations to come are the generations that come after us. What are we pouring into the generation after us? Because even portion of the generation after us is tares. Majority of them are tares. They're not weak. Majority of them are tares. So here it is, a war being waged on us. How do we fight back? Right? So again, for my brothers and for my sisters, if you sexualize in polygyny, you might as well just fall off of this live, because it's only for the mature. It's only for those who are wise and understanding the wars that's being waged against us. Right? So this concept of, like I said from the beginning, this concept of you gotta be able to afford it. 2 virtuous women is better than 1. 3 is a cord that can't be broken. Right? So let me use this for an example. I think some of y'all are familiar with the time where Rachel was giving birth to Benjamin and she died. And she had a midwife that helped deliver that child. Imagine if he was alone and didn't have no other wife. He would have had to bear that child alone. He can't give suck to that child. Because it's noted that women may pass during childbearing. There have been several occasions where women have died during childbearing. Who's going to help him? If I know of a situation similar to that, and he was left with no one to help. See, we can't be selfish with this. And we can't be selfish, nor can we sexualize it. We gotta have strict mental maturity in thinking about the pros of polygyny. We gotta have mental maturity of thinking about the pros. If something happened to my wife right now, I am wifeless. I don't have no support. I'm here with my children by myself. It really don't make no sense, for real. Yah forbid, I'm just using myself as an example because I'm a husband, I'm a father. I'm a husband to 1 wife, and I'm a father. You understand what I'm saying? So, if somebody drop, I should know where it is, but the scripture where I got it written down, I just don't know where I got it written down at. The scripture where Rachel, I think it was Rachel who passed during childbearing, giving birth to Benjamin, and her midwife tended to the child after she passed. Because I think she wanted to name him one thing, and he changed it to Benjamin. Right? So I'm saying all of this to say that, yeah, I'm pro polygyny. Me and my wife talked about it. We discussed it. Right? And she said in the same words, like, well, if you get 1 wife, you might as well get 3. And we might as well build an empire. We might as well. Because the objective is not just replenishing the earth, but building business and having inheritance for the children that we bring forth. What I look like bringing forth a gang of children and having nothing for them to inherit. That's unwise. That's why I said you have to be extremely mature. I don't speak for every man when I speak about this topic. I don't speak for every sister being willing when I speak about this topic, because we have to grow to that point of being strong enough to be able to mature to a level to accept it from this angle. We have to be able to be mature enough to accept it from this angle. Because at the end of the day, we all know something is about to occur. Something is about to occur. Something is about to take place. Something is about to transpire to where we have to truly, solely depend on Yah. We can talk about survival all day long. You got Food stocked up. You got water stocked up. But nobody talks about when you run out of that stuff, what do you do? Man, I'm jumping off with faith right at the top. Right at the top. Because ain't nothing going to stop me from depending on Yahuwah. Not a bottle of water. Not a shelter of food. It's going to stop me from depending. Thinking about our ancestors coming out of Egypt. When he provided for them in the wilderness. That's where I am. I want that faith. Even in the Isaiah. Let's talk about this scripture too. Because if I move on that faith, I will want those who are with me to move based on that faith as well. Right? So even in Isaiah it says 7 women will take hold to one man. Y'all know the scripture that I'm speaking of. But I'm gonna tell you straight up, when this scripture is read, it's sexualized by men who desire multiple wives for their own benefit. You understand? Me personally, I'm not going to say that. Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1. I had to catch myself. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold to one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Listen, when I said in the beginning that relationships are a business, these women already came and said, look, we got our own bread. We got our own clothes. Let us just go by the name. It said, let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Because in that day, you're going to have a husband to take away your reproach. If your father is still alive, then your father would take away your reproach. You understand what I'm saying? This is about salvation and being in business with someone. This is a spiritual business. I ain't talking no physical business. It's spiritual business. Physical business too, but it's spiritual business. Mental business. Applied. You understand? My wife said it out of her own mouth. She said, we might as well build an empire. Man, look. You got so many avenues of income coming into one place. There's no way possible you're not able to elevate and remove yourself from the system and be able to live, cultivate, build, grow, replenish, reproduce. Everything. Not just humanity, but reproduce business, reproduce crops, build, grow, cultivate. That's the objective. When I think of any unified organization, whether it be football, whether it be anything unified, you know that everything and everyone has to work as a team in order for the play to go right. Even in a polygynous relationship. Look, if a sister is willing to get in a polygynous relationship, she cannot come in selfishly. She have to think of business. She have to, if there are children involved, she have to already love those children as if they're hers. Even coming from her end, if there are children involved from her end, the man must have a business goal, spiritual business goal, physical business goal set. If she have children, he must accept those children as his own. Right? Even in a way where in the Apocrypha it said be a father to, I'm butchering it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Be a father. Be a father rather than a husband. Be a father to her son rather than a husband. Now, let me see if I can find it real quick. I know it's in here somewhere. What is it, man? Oh, okay. My son, middle not many matters. Okay. Remember. Okay. It's Sirach chapter 4 verse 10. Did somebody drop it? No, nobody dropped it. Sirach chapter 4 verse 10. Be as a father unto the fatherless, instead of a husband unto their mother, right? So that thou be as the son of the Most High, and he shall love thee more than thy mother doeth. Right? It said, be as a father unto the fatherless instead of a husband unto their mother. Right? Because the more, if you are tending more to being a husband to the mother, you forget that the child is the next generation that you have to pour into them. Because see, we get distracted by trying to we get distracted by building relationship and forget that we have to pour into everything that they're about and everything that they come with, instead of just pouring into them. So if a woman come and she had children, I gotta pour into the children. I have to be a father to the children before I can even be a mother, or before I can even be a husband to the mother. But the reason being is because if you have a woman come in and you're more of a husband to the mother, she's gonna mother the children and you're not fathering them, because you're more focused on being a husband to the mother than a father to the fatherless children. So then therefore you leave the mother to discipline the children, and your discipline ain't even recognized by the children that's coming into your household, whether they be stepchildren or whatnot, or whatever you want to call it, or children inherited. So this is what I do. Any children that come through my house, I'm putting them to work. Excuse my language. I'm putting them to work, man. So I gotta know that, okay, you okay with me disciplining your children, because I'm gonna put them to work, and I'm gonna talk to them like I talk to my children. You understand? And they gonna have respect for me, not as a brother, but as a father or as a guardian. 13, 14, 15, 16, they're gonna have to fall in line. You understand? So for those that are anti-polygyny but have multiple children by multiple men, you really don't have no say so. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. Like, you got multiple children by multiple men, and you come into a relationship in the truth, and you say you anti-polygynist, and you can only deal with one husband, but in the world you got 3 different baby daddies. If you don't, it's so serious to the point to where if you can't accept a husband to bring in help with you, with your children, you might as well stay single. You might as well stay single. Because it's not fair to a man to have to accept you and your multiple baby daddies, and you come into a relationship and he's pro-polygyny. Or even if he decides, you know what, monogamy ain't the thing for us, we might need to add to the household. You can't deny him, because he not denying your 3 baby daddies and your 3 children that you had by 3 different men. It happens like that. And those are case scenarios that you really have to regulate. You understand? So, again, to break it down, I am. You understand? I am, because every woman has a husband. Every child has a father. Combating the economic warfare that's waged against us. Combating the spiritual warfare that's waged against us via mass incarceration and homosexuality. We're going to take it up a notch, because I'm not going to let you play with me. I'm not going to let this system play with me, and I'm not going to play myself out of salvation. Father. I'll do it for you. I truly, solely depend on y'all with all that I do. Again, if you read Proverbs 31 and you read Deuteronomy 21, Exodus 21, 10, Deuteronomy 21, 15, you will see that these things were established based on business. When you read inheritance, this is talking about business. What's being left? What do you have to give? So when we speak about polygyny, polygyny is a business. What are you providing? What are you here for? Relationships, monogamous relationships are a business. If you only get into a monogamous relationship to satisfy the flesh, you lose. If there is no other way that y'all can build compatibility besides sexual intercourse, you lose. Let's cultivate together. Let's build business together. Let's put our names on a business together. Let's work together to establish a business, because we have to have something to leave our children. But if you are a woman that leans upon the concept, oh, if you want to be in a polygynous relationship, you got to provide you got to provide for this household and in that household. I encourage you to read Proverbs 31 with new eyes, because y'all leave out the whole perspective of the duties of a wife when you say the man's supposed to provide this, that, and the third. But Proverbs 31 shows that the woman is a provider as well. Her duties is to provide as well. So if we're providing together, combating the cost of living together, combating the economic warfare, combating the spiritual warfare together, that's a plus. That's a plus. I want to encourage all my sisters, just get out of this selfish mind state of having your own. Because even the scriptures say the man was not created for the woman, but the woman was created for the man. That's what the scriptures say. So then, here we are in a society that give homosexual rights against the will of the Father. I mean, like, I said it earlier, and she said it's not necessarily true, and it's truly not necessarily true, but I wanted to make a statement, because my statement that I said earlier was this: if you're anti-polygyny, you might as well be pro-homosexuality. You might as well be pro-homo, because homosexual, they got rights against. They got rights. They got rights to bag them up against a heterosexual man or a heterosexual. I think I'm saying it right. And it's like, man, like, those rights, them having a say-so, it's ignorant. It's wicked. It's wicked as hell. Them having rights or a say-so to say homosexuality is approved. Man, the hell with y'all. Just because the earth is full of people does not mean that Yahuwah is not going to use a righteous seed to replenish the earth with righteous seed. Again, the generation to come behind us is what we are pouring into them. What are you pouring in? How many children do you have to pour into? Torah. Guess how many children is being poured into? Folly. We're not an influence to the world. We are influence to those that consider Yahuwah, and those that want to transition out of the world to consider Yahuwah. Peace, love, and light. That's what it is. This is about war, man. This is about war. If you look at it any other way, you selfish. If you look at it any other way besides, man, they waging war on us. Homosexuality is at a higher rate in the black community than lasting monogamous relationships. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Who are we influencing? Who are they influencing? Our fight is just as great as theirs. We got to motivate and encourage the opposite of what they motivating and encouraging. That's what I believe. But maturity must go before anybody considering being in such relationship. In such relationship, man, you got to be extremely mature. Like I said in the beginning, everything got to be in reverse, Jack. Everything that they doing in reverse. Man, you cannot be perverted. You cannot be over-sexualized when we talking about this. And I'm like, my wife told me, like, and I talked to my wife and I said, listen, how I was in the world, I'm so much more better. Like I don't ravish my wife. Like, we sit and we talk. It's been times, weeks at a time, where I don't touch my wife. Because I'm not filled with the spirit that I had in the world. Because it was just like, oh yeah, like, because you can get distracted. You can get so easily distracted by sexual intercourse. That's why you become unclean after you have sex for a whole day up until nighttime, because the spirit is still on you. I had people in my house spending the night for days at a time for a whole month. When anybody was in my house, I did not touch my wife because I already know how the spirit work. It's about balance and bringing forth righteous seed. You gotta be so disciplined. And in order to have discipline, you gotta know the obedience of Yahuwah. This is the only way it'll work. You understand? You gotta be disciplined. Check. Like I said, I wrote out a courtship contractual agreement. 3-month span. In that courtship contractual agreement, no touching. 3 months straight. Look, I ain't finna touch you till I know that you down for the cause. We gotta start building empires. Like, I would even go as far enough to say families coming together and building structures. You understand what I'm saying? Man, it's the war is so heavy to the point to where it's like people still got hope that they can manifest something in this society and in this world. Even I do have hopes and like, okay, I got this business, that business, but what I really desire mostly is the skill to build and the skill to build and the skill to be able to cultivate. I got a garden in my backyard, but I need the spirit of prudence. Man, no, I hug my wife, but when somebody's in my house, male, you know what I'm saying? Like when I had men in my house, I didn't touch my wife. When I had a sister stay with me for a whole month, didn't touch my wife while she was there, even behind closed doors, because I know how the spirit lead. You know what I'm saying? I was protecting myself. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's okay, because it's, like I said in the beginning, there's a right way to do something. If there's a wrong way to do it, there's a right way to do it. In the world, the side chick thing is popular. Now, you have comedic signs who promotes polygyny, but that's all perverted. If you're looking at polygyny from a comedic science point of view, it's perverted. You can count that out. That's perverted, man. You know what I'm saying? That's perverted. It's sad, but it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you have thriving monogamous relationships. Now, I'm not just saying like a monogamous relationship can't do it or won't cut it. You know what I'm saying? But that's one way. Let me just say that. It's just one way. During courting, oh yeah, no, like I wouldn't suggest it. Now the spirit move how it move, Aki. You know what I'm saying? The spirit move how it move, but I would not suggest hugging or nothing. Maybe a hug, because we hug our brothers. You know what I'm saying? But you can hug and you can set your intentions and your energy when you hug, bro. You can set intent. Like, I'm going to hug you in a way where I feel like I want to touch you more. Like, nah. If you want to get to know a person, get to know them. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know what other places y'all can grow at. You know what I'm saying? Like, because being sexually satisfied just ain't going to cut it. That's why a lot of relationships poof now. Because once they able to satisfy the flesh, they bump heads on everything else. Why you didn't take the time to get to know if you can build something with this person before you lay with this person? Because that's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest thing to do. Now, I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't suggest it at all. Because even being around a person, let me tell you how the spirit works. Even being around a person, you can project the energy of a liking. And you can feel so strong about this energy that the person that you're around can pick up on it just by y'all communicate. You don't even have to touch this person for this person to even be ready to be involved with you. Because the energy that you project around this person, that's how strong energy is. So it's better to be like, you know what? Find compatibility. Things that you are compatible on, if you are considering, find compatibility. Just know that if you are considering a relationship, find compatibility. If you're considering a polygynous relationship, find compatibility. And also have a mindset that if they are coming in with children or if they are coming in to children, everything that you're about gotta be loved by them. Gotta be loved by them. They can't just come in loving you. And when that love ceases, like, oh, I ain't care nothing about them badass kids, no way. You know what I'm saying? It could be little stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that that's everybody's spirit, but come on. It gotta be more. Nah, facts. For real, like, that's what it is. Like, the energy is so strong because the desires are high. So then when you hug the person, it's like you giving off. It works like that. You giving off vibrations. Like, in comedic science, niggas will call it something else, like this chakra is being activated. Man, look, you giving off energy when you do that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, polygyny from a comedic science point of view, perverted. Completely perverted. And they'll taint your understanding of it. You understand? They'll taint your understanding of it. Man, I'm so pro-life. I'm so pro-life that I'm so pro-life that I will have as many children as possible. And pour into my children Torah and let Abba be, and man, listen. I'm so pro-life, I have as many children as possible, Jack. And pour into all my children Torah, discipline, obedience. And they'll be the generation to come through and be like the Maccabees. They'll be the generation. I ain't doing it for me. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the next generation. But if we only dropping, you know what I'm saying? It's a group of Israelite kids over here. Group of Israelite. Man, I folk with replenishing the earth with righteous seed. Again, just because the earth is full of people does not mean that the earth is replenished with righteous seed or that the Father is not still replenishing the earth. To replenish it is to renew it, to bring forth new minds, to bring forth new concepts, to bring forth new obedience, to bring forth new generation. That's replenishing the earth. So if we're constantly replenishing the earth with wicked seeds, what the hell purpose is that? So if we take our energy Turn towards the Father. Turn towards the light. Allow the Father to pour into us, and all the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that He pour into us, it festers and it sit and we soak in it. We have children in that wisdom, and they'll grasp it easier. Because if you have children in a world in a wicked mind state, full of folly, ignorance, listening to worldly music, doing worldly things, entertaining worldly energy, and you have children in that state, those are the type of children you're going to produce. But I want to have children in a state where only Torah observant spirit that's accepting this Torah, even the vessels that I lay seed in, only Torah observant vessels, so that when I lay seed, when I give seed, that these vessels are preparing their spirit to serve Yah, to preparing the spirit of the child that is within the womb to serve Yah. That's the objective. I noticed it because I had a child in the world. But because my spirit is so strong, it's going to be a battle, but I think the battle is going to be won on this end because my spirit is so strong and embedded in this Torah. You know what I'm saying? So even women having children, having to go into the hospitals, your sister wife can be your midwife. You can have that extra support with the children that you already have. Man, I'ma take my wife for example. We need help. We getting it done. I ain't saying we need help like my door just open. Anybody who come in can come on in. You gonna sign a nation builders contract. I gotta find you worthy. I have a community builder contract. I have a community builder survey. You're going to take a survey. You're going to go into a courtship for at least 2 terms of the courtship because they're in 3-month increments. Because my family is near and dear to me. You know what I'm saying? And I got to know that this is going to be a place that you can see yourself building. That you can see yourself, okay, you can see the ups, you can see the downs, but you willing to work through it. Because I've had people to come in not for that specific reason to be a part of our household, but just to see how we function and how we operate. You know what I'm saying? And I looked out for them like they was one of my children. You know, I opened my doors. What I cooked, they ate. It was welcome to shower, welcome to sleeping quarters. You understand what I'm saying? Kind of like an interview. Nah, facts. Like a real interview. You know what I'm saying? But first off, it's like I already got to see myself compatible with you to even make a suggestion. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we already have to share some form of business. We most definitely got to share the mindset of Torah off top. Off TOP. You understand? Most definitely. But yeah, you'll go through a whole interview process. I got a whole interview process set up because what I'm doing for myself is because I'm doing it for myself because I know lust lurking, temptation lurking. It's so easy to just say, yeah, let's kick it. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can get to know each other. That's easy. People do that in the world all day long with no form of establishment or contract set, and they get into this situationship, and you have the woman ask, so what are we? Why the hell you asking that question for? Nah, we ain't rocking like that. So that's why I established the 2-part survey. And then from the 2-part survey goes into establishing an agreement for courtship. And even in the courtship agreement, there's no touching. Polygyny is discussed in the courtship agreement. And it's made simple. But in order for you to truly understand polygyny, you got to understand the wars that's being waged on humanity, pro-life, reproduction. If you're not looking at it from that standpoint, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, then yeah, polygyny is always necessary. It's like saying, ain't no point of unifying. Or like saying, ain't no point of coming together. Like, what you talking about? It's always a point of coming together. It's always a point of unifying. Every woman have a husband. Every child have a father. Can't deny it. We fighting against wickedness. You should be pro everything that got something to do with life. Because wickedness trying to destroy every form of life possible. Hell, they took the food and made it GMO. They against life. They against it. You should be taking every form of life and being for it. Period. They taking food, GMO and food. Reproducing lab chickens with 6 wings. So that they can have mass reproduction. If they trying to have mass reproduction, I'm trying to have mass reproduction too with a righteous seed. That's it. With structure, obedience, and discipline and Torah. Off the TOP. And it angers me to see how much of an influence that homosexuality have over polygyny. It's angry. It angers me. Not to the point to where I'm mad, I want to do something, but I'm like, dang, how come this simple, putting these two things side by side should be a no-brainer for the Hebrew community? A no-brainer. The enemy is lurking. We know the enemy is present. We know the enemy is waging war on every way against us possible. So are we just here to inform each other that the enemy is waging war? Or are we here to combat and fight against the wars being waged against us? I'm pro-pilot, bro. All day long. I'm pro-pilot, sis. Because I'm pro-pilot against the enemy. This ain't got nothing to do with satisfying the flesh. I die. But my seed will continue. Because I know what the Father pointed in me, man. I pray my son receive it wholeheartedly. I pray my daughters receive it wholeheartedly. Because after me is them. And I'm praying that the lineage go forward. In wisdom, spirit, and wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and spirit, and in truth. The enemy is at war with us. We ain't even fighting back. Oh, okay. Damn, I ain't even mentioned Planned Parenthood and abortions. Good grief. Good grief. Our sisters should be showing and proving to these sisters that's in the world, like, y'all, listen, I'm gonna have as many babies as possible. I'm gonna make sure my husband's seed go forth. Y'all sisters should be pro-poly. Because our sisters should be pro-poly because the system is anti-life. Abortion, Plan B, Planned Parenthood, birth control, mass incarceration, homosexuality. They raging war on our young men. We need warriors to fight this war. We need warriors that's gonna fight this war for real. Like, nobody get up out of your feelings, get up out of your flesh. We are at war. So what do? Are we just warned that the enemy is at war with us and we do nothing? Or are we warned that the enemy is at war with us? We find out where and how many different wars he's waging against us, and we combat each one in our own way. Because the physical war is for the physical. The spiritual war is for the spiritual. Okay, the generations to come after us, what are they being poured into? Because it's really us reproducing is not about us reproducing, but it's about us reproducing for the future. It's about them that comes after us. That's the purpose of reproduction. The Lord is always replenishing the earth with new generations to come. With new generations to come. They waging war against us, man. Homosexuality, mass incarceration, even the unconscious that are not even aware of how to be men of Christ are pro-life, are anti-life, because they have no consciousness. Like the scripture said, our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So they're a form of destruction. So we got to count the ones that are homosexual. We got to count the ones that are mass incarcerated. We got to also count the ones that are unconscious and unaware of righteousness. These are all of the types of men that the Father can't use to replenish the earth for righteousness. Then on top of that, we got to count the sisters that are pro-Planned Parenthood, pro-abortion, pro-Planned Parenthood, pro-abortion, pro-birth control. We got to count y'all too. These 6 angles we being hit at. And we only talking about one that'll knock it all out. We only talking about one. But if you don't care that we are being hit at these angles, then if you don't care that we being hit at these angles, then you got to consider yourself selfish. At some point, you got to consider yourself selfish. But again, yes, I'm pro-poly. Every woman has a husband, every child has a father. But only on the basis of obedience and discipline. Clothes, food, deodorant, all that. We need all that. If we can provide all of these things for ourselves, like we are the kingdom. And all of the thing, all that we have will be provided in the kingdom. But we have to be able to provide these things. So I said I wasn't going to even be an hour. I'm an hour and 30 in. But it's real though. So I'm going to save this video and I'm going to post it on my YouTube for those that didn't get a chance to catch it or didn't catch it in full. You know what I'm saying? For my sisters, man, read Proverbs 31 thoroughly and understand that that's a business proposition between her and her husband, and just her being virtuous. It's a business proposition, spiritual business proposition, because she has to have it in her spirit to even exercise servitude to her handmaid. One Proverbs 31 woman is a blessing. One Proverbs 31 woman is a blessing. 2 Proverbs 31 women, blessing from on high. 2 Proverbs 31 women that work together in understanding, not selfish. Think about the wars being waged against us. And think about how you can combat or fight against that. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I pray that everything that was said and spoken in spirit and in truth. Pray that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, edification was received for those who chimed in. Follow my YouTube page, Freebrew Nation. All of my lessons that I post on IG, I transfer them straight to my YouTube, so I won't have to do them over again. Alright, so follow my YouTube page. These same lessons go up on my YouTube to share with the YouTube community. Alright, follow me, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that. If anybody got any questions or concerns, feel free to hit my inbox. I respond in a timely fashion. I ain't nobody that can't respond. I ain't too busy to where I can't respond and have dialogue with my brothers and sisters. All right. Oh, we got 5 people on here. Check this out. I'm finna put y'all on game real quick. I'm finna put y'all on game real quick. And for all those who watching, I got a new project coming out. Right? Yeah, I got a new project coming out. See, it's backwards. It's backwards. So I'm gonna flip the camera around for you. New project coming out. Be on the lookout. Out the dog. Yeah, and everything in-house. So I've gotten another business venture. You dig? I gotten another business venture. Creating CDs. I went back into the chambers of my mind and was like, man, I used to burn CDs because I was paying for my CDs to get burnt and made copies. Right? I was paying for it. I was like, man, I used to burn CDs in high school. I had to go. I graduated YouTube University. Man, look, I went to go get me some CD label covers. Man, I printed my own and I put my music on there. Doing a couple rough drafts. So yeah. That's what it is, man. New project coming. If you ain't heard nothing, you really can't say that I leaked it. Cause I ain't let you hear anything yet. Alright? But before I get off real quick, I'm gonna take 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to answer any questions. Anybody got any questions before I jump off? Any questions? I'm gonna let it tick for 1.5 minutes. If anybody got any questions or concerns, feel free to drop it in the comments. Pray that everybody who chimed in receive wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, he said, right, them niggas is freaks. God, mad freak, bro. Wild, wicked with it. Wild and wicked with it, bro. Don't use that comedic shit when you talking about polygyny, folks. God. Y'all got any questions, just drop them in. Other than that, we gonna close it out by saying all praise, all honor, all glory be unto the Creator. Man, let his word be true and every man a liar, man. Let his word be true. Let his word go forth. Let the Father bring forth his righteous judgment upon this sinful kingdom, and may he replenish the earth with righteous seeds from a righteous perspective through those that are obedient with discipline of the Torah and all that the Torah prescribes. That's it. It's the only way it can be done. All right? Peace, love, light, and healing. Shalom, shalom.